All right, you are listening to an episode of Transparency and Merit. Relapse.
Yes, please put this on Discord while I bloviate my story of relapsing.
I'm Joe, and this is Brian, and
Yes.
we're talking about relapsing. This can't be a fun episode.
Probably not. It's probably going to have...
Screw you.
Oh,
Saturday
my.
is ruined.
Saturday is ruined. I'm relapsing. You know what? I thought I was going to make such a change in my life after I had a dramatic episode, a little bit, and it was putting me through Great Depression. And now I'm through even more depression. Not more depression, but, I thought I was going to make a big change in my life. And for a while, I was really serious about it. But now I'm just back to my old habits of overeating, oversleeping, and being a little bitch.
The sloth life. It's
The sloth life, yeah. I'm just being a sloth.
Well, you know what? I've fallen back on some of my habits, but I've made progress.
Yes.
And I'll tell you what I've done. Some of my... well, you know what? I'll save the reason or how I've curbed some of my less positive appetites. I will say that we should do a show one day on microdosing. There's a lot to be said for it, but we'll get to that later. But I think it's a revolutionary way of attacking certain things, and it's definitely a great way to work on depression and other other things that are kind of holding people back from their normal routine. But we'll get to that. I think that's a whole other episode. What have you done what were your goals and where are you at?
Well, I was going to, get up every day. I was going to be motivated and this and that and not watch as much YouTube and get stuff done. And for a while I was doing that, but then I went right back in. YouTube for me and social media is like a drug. And I just got back into my old habits of doing the same nonsense that I had before. I love getting into debates with people. I love debating, and I love getting into arguments with people. Not many people, although when I debate on YouTube, certain subjects, basically they don't really respond to me that much. They respond to me a little bit, but not as much as I'd like. And it's less now than it was before. And I don't know if...
That's the thing, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
It's a little bit less. That's the key right there, because you have to think about, look, man, how long did it take me to get to where I'm at right now? And if you are 50 years old, it took you probably not when you were 18. When you were 18, or maybe when you're in your 20s, you're still somewhat in shape and you were still sort of organized. But let's say even if it was in your mid-30s, think about this. If you were 34 and you started to slip and your organization fell to shit and your health it became an issue, you're from 35 to 50, that's 15 years where you fell into a real negative tailspin or habit.
Yeah. So
to think that you could just stop and your whole life is your answers are solved, or your questions are solved, it's impossible. If it's a true lifestyle change, it's going to be incremental change that it may take you 15 years. The 15 years it took you to get there, it might take you 15 years to get back to where you want to be.
I think I'll be close to dead by that time because I'm 50 years.
Hopefully not. But that's what I tell people, though. You can expect real change to occur. I mean, unless you take some real drastic steps, it's going to be incremental, and that can take years. Some people can do it in days. Some people can do it. Their sound is terrible. Oh my God.
Yes.
It's horrible again. Look, but that's the reality of this.
Yeah. And it is, by the way. Okay.
Maybe we had it up a little high, but I think we're okay.
A little high. So our sound is not that good. Is what's being told.
We'll test it here. Let's see.
Let's test it. Here we go.
Did you know cigarette butts make up a large portion of microplastics in the ocean,
that? They came right
which end up in 70% of seabirds? and 30% of sea turtles.
What is this?
Bank of the West is helping to solve this problem by not financing
it's a
big
difficult
tobacco.
situation
Proving
here,
that
It is. It is.
and you can't really. I don't know, by the way, because sometimes I've turned. Yeah, okay, now it's live broadcasting. It's not playing the commercial anymore. So,
Yeah. This is good.
so let's see here. Let's just play a little.
And Joe.
Sounds good to me.
To the video, and then after.
Sounds good. Get out
Yeah,
of here.
he's full of it. He's just
You're full of it.
basically this is a person who I've rejected just because of his behavior. I may choose to forgive him at one point, but basically, One Angry Jew, Howard, basically continually called me and harassed me, and he thinks that behavior is okay, and I am one that does not. I don't care what he says. I don't like what he says, but it doesn't bother me like the calling he did on Skype. That did bother me, and that's one of the reasons why I actually had to block him, because he would not stop calling, and he would deliberately. The last time he deliberately tried to take away, basically disrupt the show on purpose, and it's like, dude, I'm not down with that kind of behavior. And some people may think it's funny, and that's fine. You can do that. And he says, "Boo-hoo, that's true. You are on my page, so I'm going to say exactly what you did, and you chose to do it. And there are consequences to behavior that's negative. You think you can just go in and harass somebody, and then basically have no negative consequences, and decide to be forgiven or whatnot. You chose to harass me, and I chose to respond to your harassment. Perhaps not in the way you like, but that's not fair what you did. It's one thing to say things that are negative or what I don't like. It's another thing to disrupt my show, and that's what you did. And you did it, by the way, habitually. You would call on, and I'm going to go back. I know this is about relapsing, but this seems to be a problem with Howard. He tends to have vendettas against people, and he used Joe and I's show to basically broadcast his vendetta. And then he made because we were giving that a platform, and he was doing it forcefully. He made that our issue, and he basically did hurt relationships, or at least one relationship that we had. And I didn't appreciate that. I'll make my own bad or good decisions, and that I didn't like at all. I don't like people who go in and do things the way they did them. You could have said, I don't care if you did your own show, but it was disrespectful, and it's not good. I certainly didn't like what you did. Joe has gone out for just a second, so I'm going to just blow the 8 on my own. So I've had a little bit of drama in my life, and I thought it would change me. And it did for a little bit. But now I'm back to my old habits, and I really don't want to be back in my old habits again. I don't want to be overeating. So it makes me feel like garbage. And I want to work hard and do what's right. And see, here is, Howard's non-sensitivity. Oh, boo-hoo, what a baby. Keep whining. It will diminish your mortal soul. It's not a show. It's not a podcast. It's a recording. It's a bad recording. You're relapsing right now. See, the thing of it is, either way, if I relapse or do anything, that is my right to do so. Certainly, it's your right, and I give you the freedom of speech to make your comments however you want to make them. I do not give you the right when I'm on Skype to habitually call me when I don't want to take it, and when I do take your call, you basically continue what you mean. This last time was really bad and really uncalled for. So I basically didn't want to tolerate that. So going back, I'm going to go back to my own.
Keep it going. Keep it going. I'm going to be right back here.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go back to my own problem. Like I said, I am overeating again. I had some chocolate cake, which was really good, by the way, and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoyed it, but man, the feeling afterwards, I feel like real garbage afterwards. So, and it's after the situation that I went through, I thought I was going to make kind of a dramatic change, and I didn't. Like I said, I found that I've gone back to some of my old habits, and I've had a headache for a long time. I mean, like,
you're triggered.
You
are truly triggered. You have a headache now.
No.
You're not going to be able to sleep tonight because of the Jew.
No.
You let him in your head again, didn't you?
No. He said lithium, but no.
Lithium.
I've had a headache for years.
Dude, the weather right now is super dry.
No.
You've got to drink. You drink a shitload of water. I don't know how you'd be dehydrated.
Well, I take it.
It comes and goes.
Yeah.
So just keep drinking water.
Yeah.
That's you're just dehydrated. Period.
But I've had a headache for years.
Or it's a brain tumor.
Yeah.
This guy just shut up. Look at how many comments we have today. It's just one person.
Yeah, it's one person who basically has animosity because I rebuffed him, and I rebuffed him for good reason.
He's angry.
And like I said, he's
an angry man.
He's
lonely too.
He's an intelligent person, but his behavior is that of he doesn't know how to act or behave with people he disagrees with. And I guess he disagreed with Joe at one point, and he wanted to get revenge on him, but by hurting him, he ended up hurting me. And that's when I ended up basically blocking him because of his behavior. He can be rather vindictive. And
rather vindictive or vindictive?
He is he's a vindictive person.
Okay.
And
sounds like you're still holding your punches against
and
this.
not.
Oh no! This couldn't be more untrue. First of all, let me just say this about the Jew.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about how the world really works. Mm-hmm. Very little. People,
can you pass me
and
water?
I find that the people from Philadelphia, from Pennsylvania, often have this problem. I have family members from Pennsylvania. I know how they are. Anyways, I cut you off. Where were you at with that?
Well, maybe they, I don't know
Scratching and clawing for relevance. Look, man, I would say our trajectory is on an upward path. Our statistics indicate it. In fact, our statistics are the complete reversal of what you're experiencing, Jew. I don't hear your name ever anymore. And I especially don't have any kind of show to go try. I mean, talk about irrelevance. We don't even know where you are. We don't seem to care. Why do you have this guy? Carlos. Okay.
Wait, someone said, let me look here. Someone screenshotted me. I don't know who was that. Oh, birth control babe. Okay. Someone said this is
fast and sexy. That's us.
Who is Mad Warrior?
I don't know. That's somebody I think I have somebody blocked by that name.
Is that Howard though? Is that Howard just?
No, it's worse than Howard. It's
There's actually someone worse than Howard.
Maybe not worse.
Out there.
Maybe not worse, but just equally as annoying.
Yeah. But I go on, and it's probably an obsession of mine because I just find the hypocrisy, and for me, and I could be completely wrong, but I find the hypocrisy and the censorship to be just something I never thought it would be this bad, but it is. It's worse than I've ever imagined, and it seems to be worse. The civil rights industrial complex seems to have a large stranglehold on discourse, not only in this country but throughout this world. And but occasionally I will get into conversations with people. A lot of black militants don't like to have conversations with me, particularly those in Europe. But Louis Farrakhan, I was watching a YouTube show that he was on about 30 years ago, and people go, "Oh, he's still relevant today," yada yada yada. And let me go as far back here. So this guy says, this Bruno guy, and I think he's from Britain, or he was born in Britain, and I gotta go all the way back, but basically he says, being here from Europe, I feel for you guys in America. And I said, why are you in Europe? I asked him that question, because luckily I was born there. And I asked him, so you admit to being lucky to be born in Europe. Are you of European ethnicity? And he says to me, as an African heritage individual, I admit being lucky to be born in Europe. My parents are both African, born in Africa, and my great-grandmother was white. Grandfather was white. Even though I was born in Europe, I am proud.
I'm a proud black man.
And the reason why I affirm to be lucky is the fact that the blacks are treated in the U.S. completely atrocious. Discrimination does not happen in Europe, no doubt.
No, listen. Discrimination does happen in Europe, no doubt, but the brutality is unheard of. For example. And you responded to that. So what did you say to that?
Oh, I said, I'm going to assume that you live in the UK. Do you think large waves of African immigration is a good idea? Many seem to grow to despise the British people. I wonder why the British people accept this, by the way. I don't see this kind of behavior in people who immigrate to Asian countries. They seem to respect their people and their customs much more.
Accept is with ACCEPT, not EXCEPT, but otherwise, good point.
Well, listen.
Accept, not accept.
I've never said that my spelling.
That's true.
And my spelling would be good. And
that's true.
And now you're gonna, and of course, you're going to draw the
ire
of
the ire of Howard. Here we go. Here we go. We got Dennis.
We got Dennis. You blocked me here, hypocrite. Do you hate censorship? You censor me. No, you harassed me.
You violated our one rule that we have. Literally, we have one rule. Aside, not only did you drop a docs file.
Yes, we have two rules.
We have two rules. Not only did you drop a docs file, you had no business dropping that. Who cares if it was given to you? You had no business placing it in our show.
Yeah.
And where that's the one rule, number one rule. The number two rule, and we do have two. The second rule would just be don't piss us off.
Well, no. The second rule is.
I'm sorry, that's my rule. What is your?
The second rule. Okay. The second rule for me is you cannot. Two rules: no doxing. Mm-hmm. And no harassment.
No, okay, same thing. And harassing is the only thing that pisses me off. Really.
And when you would call our show, you would call with doxing information. And again, you could have done that on your own show.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to go to our show, and you called several times.
It's not being a pussy, Howard. Bullshit. You know that's not true. You had no business reposting that information. It doesn't matter how you got it.
Yeah. And it's just...
What about you receiving it makes it okay to repost it? You're the one making the decision there. It's your moral standard you're violating.
Yeah. You harassed me, and then you harassed us to get on our show to dox information about people. And you doxed information on it. That's the one thing. No doxing and no harassing. You cannot, you can state an opinion. Even if it's a foul, nasty opinion, you can do that, but you cannot dox.
You can do what you want with it, just not in our show.
Yeah.
That's period. I agree. You can do whatever you want with it. That doesn't mean you can come to our show and dump it when you know that's our number one rule.
Yeah.
Relapsed.
And then you would, like I said, you would go on, and you would call, like the last time that put me over the edge is you habitually called me to disrupt our show, and you were doing it to Joe, but you were doing it to me too.
Passively to me, aggressively to you.
Yeah. I felt you were very aggressive.
Yeah.
You should learn a little bit about stoicism and learning behavior and learning proper behavior.
Meanwhile, he was secretly trying to piss me off as well, which he didn't really do. It's our rule. And
well, I'm a human being. I was triggered. I was pissed off by what you did.
He was pissed.
I was pissed off by what you did and it was wrong. What you did was wrong. And of course, I'm a human being. I get triggered by the type of aggressive behavior. When I would get upset if you were interrupting me or like when I was talking and doing a bullhorn. That's human nature to get upset by behavior that is rather uncouth and bad. So, yeah, I did what was in my human nature to do. Now, maybe could I rise above it? I don't know. I just, think what you do a lot of times is really wrong.
He asked, we answered.
Yeah, I gave you an answer.
I'm definitely not mad. What I am right now is I'm a little sad. I'm a little let down by someone who has the ability to use a higher mind, but chooses to act in a lower-minded way. And that's just my view. Because you have higher-minded views a lot of times. You just don't want to share them for whatever reason. That doesn't make me mad. That actually sucks because we had high hopes for certain callers to our show.
Yeah, we did.
It doesn't help our show, in other words, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we're out to help, other. I think a big goal of Transparency and Merit is to work with other shows that maybe are better than us. So what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make us mad if somebody's better than us. This is ridiculous. Your whole argument is founded on something that doesn't apply to Brian and I.
Yeah,
Brian and me.
Yeah.
So, what this does is it makes you look the fool. Because Transparency and Merit is looking at how, ideally, we like to look at the reality behind what we see. There's a facade in society.
Yeah.
There's a facade.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal.
You have to be able to look beyond the facade. And the only way to do that is to reach out, find other like-minded shows or opposing views, whatever the case is, maybe create a panel and have a discussion.
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
Yeah.
And to suggest anything else, and to suggest we think we're a great show, or good for that matter. We're just two guys practicing, and we've been practicing now for what?
Oh yeah, I mean over 9 years we've been practicing this, and like I said, I think we've improved.
I think it's like martial arts in a way. Like you got to practice it.
Are we as good as we can be? Maybe
No.
not. But the fact of the matter is, we're just out there to have all forms of views. There's one view that I'm stuck on, and the reason I am And the reason I've been that way is there's been censorship for as long as I can remember. And since the internet, the censorship has gotten worse. And I am obsessed with having open and free dialogue. Because the truth is, you cannot have a society worth living in my opinion, without a diverse society worth living in without open and free dialogue. And Joe is basically, he's in between the making, but yeah, and that's that would be one of my dreams, is to find, like I said, like-minded people, and as big of an audience as possible, to have this open and free dialogue. And now there's being a and I would say, even, if our show's not good and our show is horrible, I wonder why he sticks around.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, because if
he'll label it like eventually there'll be a day where he actually feels half good and maybe even has some emotions kicking in, and where he'll actually admit, like, okay, well, my critiques are all you got. In other words, I'm making the critiques. I'm actually trying to do something good for you guys by critiquing you, which is complete nonsense. He's so off base. If he was even close to being accurate as to where we're at with our show and what we do, if any of this was anywhere near close to accurate, it might resonate and we might be able to affect some change. He might be able to affect some change, but okay, so we have a reply.
We have a reply, and this was 6 minutes ago. Transparency and man, I'm currently living in Britain. Yes, but not even close.
So you asked him if he
I was not born in Britain most of my life. Let me see here. Which
most
Asian
of my
country?
life was spent in Portugal, and again, it's not even close. Which Asian countries were you referring to?
And I'm going to say, well, let's start with Japan. And so he is in Portugal, which, by the way, I know that Brazil has, and I mentioned Japan, Brazil has a large portion of Japanese in Brazil. I wonder if the same is true with Portugal.
I'd say yes.
And
because of the language.
So wait, he's currently living in Britain. So
you asked him if he lived in the UK, so he answered that.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was talking about with the Asian countries, though.
And let me also say...
What was he saying?
Let me also...
Oh, you just wanted to start with...
Also, let me say, you did not ask...
It's not true. I've actually beaten Howard in chess. So, sorry. He's not even good at... He's not even good at what he claims to be good at. I'm no chess expert.
I hope I spelled portion right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Also, you did not ask...
The other portion of my question.
You mean ask or answer?
Oh, shit.
Just type in star. Here, let's do this. We'll fix this now. Answer. There you go.
Why is star a good point for that?
Why is what? The star?
Oh, yeah.
It just shows that you're making a change, an edit.
Okay.
Unofficially. That's just my way of doing it.
Okay. So he did not answer the other part of my question, which is, why why is it intelligent for European countries to allow people in who don't respect their customs and actually despise and hate them?
How do you measure that?
Well, I measure that by there are a lot of civil rights groups who claim that they, the NOI, the Nation of Islam, is in Britain, and a lot of these people were not born in that country, or their family members were not born in that country, yet they grow to hate the people of British ethnicity that are there. Why is it intelligent for the British people to allow this kind of behavior? Why can't they just?
So they're immigrating into the UK.
Yes.
With hatred.
Well, they grow to have hatred.
So they get there, and then because they're not getting the same treatment, or is that what they're claiming, that they're being unfairly persecuted, or?
Well, let me see here.
I just don't understand.
How do you spell Caucasians?
Well, good here. There you go.
Now, this is Leo Muhammad. He is in England. And I don't know if this can play over the thing here.
Yes. Yes. The question is that we said that our regular meetings don't allow Caucasians. The question is why? 1963. The answer is that as a people, black people in particular found in the Western Hemisphere, we went through 400 years of slavery at the hands of Caucasian people. As a result of the 400 years of slavery, we lost our names, our language, our culture, our God. For the last 400 years, 100 years in particular, after so-called emancipation or the end of slavery.
Now he's mentioning America. And this person, by the way, from my understanding, this is Leo Muhammad. I don't remember what his original name was, but he immigrated. His family immigrated to the UK when he was 12 years old, and he became a member of the Nation of Islam. And my question is, why would the British, if so many people are joining these organizations, wouldn't the British people fight to curtail this kind of behavior and this kind of action in their nation?
What kind of numbers are you talking about? Because I never hear about any of this. So how would I know? Like what kind of movement is this? How big is the Nation of Islam?
I'm not sure how big the Nation of Islam is, but there are a lot of people.
You should know.
Okay. Well, I don't know how big I have an idea. I don't have the numbers off of hand. Oh, why are you crying? Okay. I don't have the numbers offhand. They're certainly bigger. They're certainly larger than than any white organization today.
Right.
And I think they're bigger than any white organization in England. They used to have the BNP used to be rather large, but I don't think they're as large as they used to be. And I think the Nation of Islam in England might even be bigger than the BNP today. All I know is that this gentleman is allowed to talk on Speaker's Corner, but if the EDL or Tommy Robinson, who rails against the rapes of young British girls in England, that he would get.
But who's Tommy Robinson?
Tommy Robinson was the head of the EDL.
But he got arrested, right?
He did get arrested for, I guess, what they considered to be disturbing the peace. And I don't know. I right now don't know if these speech laws are going to change in England just due to the fact that there's been, the elections have changed. I wonder if they've accepted Brexit. They've gotten Brexit, so they're out of the EU. So I'm wondering if the laws are going to change, and there's, the speech laws are going to change. But the one problem you have right now is Antifa has a very strong presence in England, from my understanding, and they will shut down any speech.
Antifa.
Antifa? Yeah.
They're big in the UK?
Well, from my understanding, Antifa is big all over the Western world. So they're in, they're in Europe and they're in America, and right now they've been really good at deplatforming people that they don't like.
I'm not a huge fan of the whole.
Yeah. Now you were, by the way, you were in what seems to be the, I guess in America, kind of they're like, an Antifa stronghold, which is Portland. And I wonder how powerful. I mean, you didn't.
I never felt so comfortable over there. When I lived in Portland, I think, and I just don't see the world that way. I was really there to just kind of check out the environment, work a little bit, just kind of be in a different place because I've always lived in California. And I'm in downtown, which is where I think yes, it's a bowel movement. When I would go downtown, I had a sense that there was a lot more happening there that my eyes weren't picking up, that your eyes might have picked up, if that makes sense, because I was just looking for different things. I just don't see, now I probably see things a lot differently. But back when I lived there, I think I was more of just like, I was just looking into different things. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. But I mean, I do remember there was like a protest in the city square, and I was hanging out there, in between jobs or whatever. And there was an Indian, like a Native American Indian, was doing this protest, and they'd get pretty big really quick. And it was just like a normal Saturday. It wasn't like, an advertisement in the newspaper. It was like a regular occurrence where they would come and, protest vironmental concerns.
And were they open to question and answer, or would they get violent?
No, that's what I mean. I never felt comfortable to have an opinion one way or another, because in one way, if I was like there to support him, I'd feel like I was part of their group, which I wasn't. And if I were to be against them, I feel like it could maybe get aggressive, and I just didn't know enough about it to really kind of support that sort of argument. So I did see a lot of interesting divisiveness there in Oregon. Where I worked, I met I worked in a restaurant bar.
Yeah.
It was called the Buffalo Gap. And they had really amazing buffalo burgers there, by the way. If you've never had one, they're amazing. And other exotic meats. Anyways, I met this guy that worked there. He was, in the kitchen. And his whole family had been loggers. They're all, his family had a rich history of loggers. And so he was, and he was pretty down to earth, real nice guy. Well, at the time, my roommate had been going to law school there at Lewis and Clark. And this is where Monica Lewinsky had graduated, I think the year we got there. She was good school. And so he happened to be in environmental law practice. He was in law school. He was studying environmental law. And which was, basically at the time, there were all these environmental laws in the mid-90s when a lot of, I think, environmental concerns were kind of reaching a peak, with the deforestation and stuff. And there was no internet yet, so we weren't really using emails on any meaningful level. So I think, in general, the country we were using a lot more of the trees in Oregon. Like, we were doing a lot more clear cutting there. But I just remember we had a party, and I invited my friend who's like from a logging family. And on the other hand, all my friends that were at the party were these environmental law students who were there to protect and save the earth. And he wanted to kill some of them. I mean, it was just obvious. Like, he really wanted to fight. But he did not. He was so nice, and it wasn't going to come down to that. But that's the kind of divisiveness that I noticed in Oregon, if I saw any at all.
And I'm seeing, like when I've never been to Oregon, but what I'm seeing now with the Proud Boys or the Patriot Prayer and Antifa is there's a lot of divisiveness and there's a lot of mobocracy, and the government seems to be supporting Antifa and the mobocracy. And I'm thinking that a lot of Americans can see that. And I'm hoping a lot of Americans can see that. And one of the reasons they want to censor, I think, is because, a lot of Americans won't find what these people are spouting to be very palatable. And one of the reasons they want to get violent and just stop you from, because they don't want you even, because the internet censors you. I mean, like television won't broadcast you at all. Mm-hmm. And then the internet, which was supposed to be an open platform for everyone, now gets censored. Mm-hmm. And now if you go out on the street corner, groups of thugs will also censor you. So they're doing it with a three-pronged approach.
Oh, it's changed so much since I lived in Oregon. I can't imagine what it's like now, because all those Native American Indians probably all are carrying cell phones and laptop computers now.
And the thing is, they use those cell phones, and those and
protection.
But they use social media.
Maybe even offensively.
They use social media offensively to use mobocracy. And basically, these social media companies are allowing them to perform mobocracy and then censoring other groups to try to fight back against them. And these social media groups are influencing policy. And why the government hasn't gotten down on them even more, because they're allowing people who get violent and use violence, and then anyone who speaks out against it is becoming censored. It seems to be an absolutely upside down world out here, and it does bother me. And I know I've gone off on a tangent, and I'm, like I said, relapsing. But every time people think that cancel culture is going to dissipate or go away, it a lot of times ends up doubling down and getting worse. So I don't see cancel, and that's another thing that's relapsing, is cancel culture. People think, oh, they've learned their lesson, cancel culture is going to lose. No, these people, in my opinion, are entrenched in the system, and they're not going anywhere. They're not going to stop doing anything. They're going to, as a matter of fact, they're going to double their efforts and triple their efforts. So they may hibernate for a while, but when they come back, they're going to come back 10 to 20 times stronger. And I don't see any stop from this divide anytime soon. And how do we make changes? How do we break? How do I mean, and this is for myself too. How do you break old habits when you've been, doing, as you said before, I've been doing the same thing over and over for years. And now, I thought, I had an epiphany.
Mr. Midnight Movie and Greta share a few traits. Is Mr. Midnight Movie autistic as well? That was a comment from the board. I think it's talking to you, Brian.
And then OMG has to stop that intro.
Oh my God. He has to stop that intro.
What intro is that?
What intro, Debbie?
Yeah, that...
You came here like the Jew, and not even a hello, just straight to the criticism. I guess your criticism is working so well for you.
Yes. By the way...
I haven't listened to a Debbie show in months.
Yeah, she hasn't had one on in how
Maybe
long?
She hasn't even had one, yeah.
You're playing an intro. No, we're not.
Oh, I think you know what it is. There's an auto intro she's talking about that I have. When you when I came over last time. Yeah, I like it, Debbie. You're crazy. If you download the show, by the way, you don't get the intro. So and it's just you saying introducing the show. That's all it is. Yeah, you're just saying you're listening to Transparency and Merit. It's like 10 seconds long. Get over it.
All of the things that I've said, and that is basically the only thing that you...
I didn't even know that. That only kicked in the last 2 shows.
Yes.
Please.
So as I got on to Leo Muhammad, and this guy is not going to answer. Let me see here.
At least I know it works now. That's good. Okay, you got an answer. 20... no, you didn't.
No, he hasn't answered my other question.
Bruno. It's Bruno.
It's Bruno.
Hey, can you go back to him real quick? Can we answer him again?
All right, go ahead. All right, let me... You want to reply?
Yeah, hit reply, and then let's... Do you mind if we send him our show?
Yeah, send him our show.
Yeah, I think that might have been a good idea. Should have done this before.
He'll probably try to censor it, though.
There you go.
Well, Bruno,
this one's for you.
This one's for you, Bruno. You did answer me. I guess you were raised in Portugal, and you're living in England now, and you were listening to Louis Farrakhan. By the way, I would love to see a debate between Farrakhan and Jared Taylor, or a debate between Farrakhan and Stefan Molyneux. That would be something that I would watch.
She's doing exactly what I told you would do. I don't criticize. I just give ideas to better you. This isn't to better anybody. You haven't done anything to better anyone.
And so, wait a minute. She just
Get out here. And I already predicted this would happen. Only it was you, not one angry Jew, who usually does say crap like that. Give me a break.
She said, wait a minute, I feel like you are my babies. I want the best for you two. You! Now I'm triggered. You know what you did to your babies? You know what you did to your babies?
What did she do to her babies?
Her babies, what you did to her...
Triggered.
What you did to your babies?
What did you do to your babies?
You promised us baby food, and you okay. Yeah, you promised us boo. You promised us food.
She did. She promised us food.
Yes.
Where's my baby food?
Boo hoo hoo. Let me see here. I just want to go back on our little show page here. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Don't worry about us, people. If you have all your, if we put yours and One Angry Jew's criticisms together, we might even have the start of an okay show. But no, they just want to give us why is that? Is it because of our heads? Do we look like babies?
You know what? I think we look like babies.
Yeah, maybe we're big babies.
Oh, no legitimate criticism. I just, But what else? What else was I going to bloviate about? Do we have anything?
Relapse.
I mean, anything else to add? I'm going to try right now to. I feel a little bit more revived. I still have a headache, and I've had a headache for years.
Are these the kind of headaches that go away by midday usually?
No.
Oh, they last all day long?
They last a lot. I mean, I have headaches a lot, dude. I mean, I've had headaches probably 30 years.
What sucks is I don't recommend starting to take, like, most people just say, well, just take 2 Advil. Yeah. Ibuprofen is not good for you. So all I can suggest is the diabetes probably affects your ability to keep some of the water.
It's gotten, my diabetes has made it worse. Mm-hmm. And I'm, man, I spend a lot of time on social.
You could also drink too much water too. That could also lead to headaches.
Yeah, but I spend a lot of time on social media, and I could.
Yeah, nobody's here to create drama, or nobody's here to tell you to stay in drama if you don't want to see it. That's your please. Yeah, sidestep it all day long.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is going on here is we're doing a show called Relapsing, and all we're getting our critiques from Debbie and One Angry Jew.
And now, by the way, and
Not
now
all.
she's deleting her. Oh, she deleted the last one. So I was going to say she's deleted. Just dismiss. Okay, you know what? Look, I'm relapsing. I've gone back to some of my old behaviors. Even though I swore I'd never do this and do that again, I had a little bit of a drama thing, and I thought I was going to change my life. You know, like if this problem passed, I was going to change my life around. And shortly after, you know, like
how shortly?
It's
like 24 hours?
You know what it may have been? Maybe, I don't know, it was 24, 48, maybe 72 hours, maybe 10 hours. But it's like I'm going to the buffet, I'm scarfing it down, I'm full, I feel like shit, and then shortly, you know, and I swear I'm never gonna go to the buffet again and scarf down like a pig.
I have to show you a picture, a video. You're gonna love this. Okay, go on.
Okay,
so you're at the buffet.
Just go to YouTube.
No, stop.
No.
I know what I'm looking for.
All right. You just.
I know what I'm looking for.
Okay. All right. But I go to the buffet. I'm full. I feel like crap. And I'm going through like almost a little bit of a diabetic coma.
I want to know if you feel like this guy ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
And
So you go to the buffet. What happens then?
I go to the buffet, and then I feel like crap, and then I swear I'm gonna go on a diet. I'm gonna change all my ways. You know, if I get through this coma.
Just get me through this one last coma.
Let me get through this coma, and I'll do better. And then you know what happens? That's a funny thing with the dog, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, these are great.
Yeah, but.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So then what happens? Keep going.
And then I'm back to this, you know, like it takes me a little while, and then I'm back to the same old habits that I've done all my life. Same old destructive habits that I've done all my life. So I don't really change. But is this it right here?
No, I have it. I'm going to get it for you, though.
Oh, jeez.
I just want...
It's taking forever, Joey.
Okay, I want you to watch this and let me know if you've ever felt like this guy before.
Let me see here. Let me see here. Oh, God! Oh, all right, turn.
No.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Oh! I want your reaction to this guy.
Oh my God, this guy is like holding his mouth at a ball game, and he's vomiting like a pig. He's having me watch this thing for over a minute, seeing someone who's vomiting like a pig. And he thinks it's, I mean, it's not even funny. It's just,
I'm not laughing.
Why are you showing this?
This guy could be having a heart attack, and look at what the people are doing. They're all videotaping him.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sign of a heart attack, is vomiting like that. I mean, it is kind of sad.
It's one of the sadder things, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
I will post that in Discord. Well, wait. I can't get it to the people, man. I can't get it to Spreaker. That's one video I don't know how to react to, but...
So I'm just going to read this guy. As an African person, both African, even though I was born in Europe, I'm a proud young black man. The reason why I affirm to be lucky in the fact that black... Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're lucky not to be... And I want to say, this dude is lucky not to be in Africa. You know?
Yeah.
But he hasn't replied to me, and I'm just kind of curious. Again, he didn't answer my other question. He didn't answer, why should the British people, and I ask this again, why should the British people accept accept people from foreign countries that disrespect them, that don't like them, that complain about them. Why should they accept it? No answer to my question. He'll answer, I'm a proud black man. I'm grateful because people in America are treated bad. Like I said, people. By the way, people leave the place of their birth all the time. Every day, they get a plane and they buy tickets to a plane and they leave. Why do they want to? They can live in a country where there are more black people, or more brown people, or more melanated people. You can do that at any time. Well, maybe not at any time. It might take you some time to get in. And there are probably more people that think, there are plenty of people that think the way you think. You can, buy a plane, like get them together, buy plane tickets. Maybe, if you can go at a time and start up businesses or whatever and leave a place where you're not happy. Why do you want to be around people who you feel disrespect you and that are devils and that are evil? Why would you want that? Makes no sense. And I know if he hears this, he'll probably just deflect the question and bring it back on to me and not answer my question.
Well, let's just check one more time if he's answering you, and then maybe we should just check on out of here.
Yeah. No, he's not. You know what? I doubt he's going to answer my question because this is the point where most don't end up answering.
What, like after a couple exchanges, or because of the question? The
question, like, why do you live? Why do you choose to live? And if they'll either say, they'll either be intellectually dishonest, or they'll just stop answering. They'll just stop the conversation because it hurts their ego.
Right.
And ego's the biggest drug around. Ego's the biggest narcotic to man. Which, by the way, Howard has an abundance of ego. He's a very egocentric person. And so let's call. Should we call this show a day show? I mean,
we're having a lot of listeners in the chat room, so I'm a little hesitant. But
you know what, though, we've said everything we want to say. And look, I don't hate anybody. And let's see, I was showing, let me see here, I'm going to all this. You didn't listen to those parts. And by the way, Debbie, you said that I should just admit and hate that I hate black people, and that's not true. I don't hate anybody. There are people that I don't like.
It is kind of a ridiculous comment.
Yeah. But, and yes, Darren, I have relapsed into my old eating habits and into my old slothful and lazy behavior. I hope to improve, though, by the way. I hope not to be lazy, and I hope to be hardworking. And I think that'll end it for the show because I think that...
Stay strong, people.
Yeah.
It's only Saturday.
Yeah. And please listen to this show on YouTube and like and subscribe. Because...
Like, subscribe, and leave comments.
Leave a comment because that means you've listened to the show.
Hit the like button.
Hit the like button.
We do it on your shows.
Yeah.
Hit like.
And also, if you can share it as well.
Yeah, I'll share it too.
Yeah. Share it on social media. So thank you for listening. And if you listen to the show on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Like and
Except
subscribe.
for you, Howard, you're gonna hate our show.
Unlike unsubscribe if you're Howard.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. This has been Transparency and Merit. I'm Joe and
Brian.
I'm Brian and Joe. Thank you for listening.
Good day.